Welcome back. The political drama in Kenya takes a new turn as politicians engage in a free-for-all. At a meeting of the Senate's Public Accounts Committee today, the governor of Kenya's capital, Nairobi, Evans Kidero, was reportedly taken to hospital for a checkup after he was punched by a senator, Mike Sonko. Mr. Sonko and Mr. Kidero got involved in a fight while the governor was being grilled by the Senate's Public Accounts Committee on the misappropriation of funds. Shortly after that incident, both politicians issued a separate statement denying the incident. The fight started as a verbal exchange between the two and got worse when Sonko accused Kidero of murder. The two leaders rose against each other, going physical and exchanging blows before they were separated, and Sonko escorted out of the building. And 8 Kenyan pro-government and opposition politicians have been detained in court over alleged hate speech, flagging growing tensions more than a year before elections and after weeks of deadly protests. After a disputed election in December 2007, incitement by rival camps was blamed for stoking bloodletting between major ethnic groups that left 1,200 dead and hundreds of thousands displaced. The 2010 constitution that sought to reshape institutions and national politics guarantees free expression but expressly outlaws ethnic incitement or hate speech. Police took the 8 to court after they were alerted to remarks by 4 pro-government politicians and 4 from the opposition. The police said the remarks were set to be laced with ethnic hatred, vilification, and border on incitement. A Kenyan journalist, Ferdinand Wangela, joins us now to talk more about this. Thank you, Ferdinand, for joining us on the program. A Kenyan court ordered police on Tuesday to detain 8 pro-government and opposition politicians for investigation over alleged hate speech. Now, give us the latest on this issue.
Well, the latest is that the 8, that's three government allied MPs and 5 from the opposition, are still behind bars. Earlier today, they went to the High Court seeking to lift the orders to detain them. But we are yet to know the way forward on that. But as it is right now, they will be out behind bars until for 4 days, that's after Friday.
Now, who are these lawmakers, and did they allude to the offences?
The offences, according to the charge sheets, they just being referred to as hate speech. All of them state different things. I think they all was set up by one MP from the government side, who is said to have talked about the assassination of the leader of opposition, as the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. So this is where a lot of these things started. So when it became now a back and forth, where several other legislators were drawn into it. But I think that was the first shot from that is MP Moses Kuria talking about the assassination of the former Prime Minister.
And what does the Constitution say about this particular situation?
It is difficult to say at the moment, but I think it is also crucial to note that all the MPs who have been arrested are quite junior people in the party hierarchy. So they would not be seen as speaking for the main principles, in this case with the President of Kenya or the leaders of opposition. So while their incarceration is sure to raise tension, it's still not clear how it would affect the conversation of the electoral reform. This is especially so since all of them are MPs and most of them are not very senior, except maybe for 1 or 2 in their party hierarchy now to influence the conversation.
And how is this likely to affect the upcoming elections?
As far as everything is concerned, that is moving forward because the government and the opposition have been hammering out an agreement on how many people will sit in the negotiating team. So from where we're standing right now, these charges are being looked at independent of the conversation of the electoral reform. So it is not expected that they will be unduly influenced. But I think it is also good to point out that one of the legislators who has been arrested is was supposed to sit in on the negotiating team. And the way it looks now is the other side, that's the opposition, wants him to be included from the negotiating team. So it's a wait and see whether the government will replace him or not.
Finally, before I let you go, Ferdinand, where does this leave the efforts by opposition party for electoral reforms? All right, thank you, Ferdinand, for talking to us on Network Africa. Meanwhile, news just in from the High Court says all 8 legislators in police custody over hate speech remarks are to remain behind bars after the High Court rejected their bail application. 9 fighters allied with the UN-backed government in Libya have been killed and 50 others wounded in fighting to dislodge the Islamic State group from its stronghold of Sirte. The men were suspected to have been killed from either sniper fire, direct gunfire, or in road bomb explosions in fighting earlier this week. Sirte was the birthplace of Muammar Gaddafi, the former Libyan ruler who was killed by NATO-backed forces in 2011. Most of Sirte's residents have fled, with dozens more families leaving the city last week as the GNA-backed forces advanced. In the meantime, the Security Council has unanimously passed a resolution calling for the implementation of a 1-year arms embargo on Libya.
So this resolution authorizes all member states and regional organizations to take specific and measured steps in response. It enables us to interdict vessels on the high seas off Libya when we believe that there are arms going to or from Libya on board. It enables us to inspect, seize, and dispose of weapons, and to divert vessels to a suitable port to facilitate that disposal.
Still to come on the program, Ivory Coast forestry officers face extortion and eviction from cocoa growers under the auspices of reforestation drive. Please stay with us.